Okay, well, let's go ahead and come into your most comfortable position, whatever that looks like. And as you settle into your seat or lying down, just kind of whatever works for you this morning. You might start to close the eyes. You might take in a big breath through the nose, sigh out the mouth, in through the nose, out through the mouth. Let's do one more, just like that. Full breath in through the nose. Exhale out the mouth, sigh it out. And then just allow the breath to come into a natural rhythm. It doesn't matter how fast or how slow, it doesn't matter how deep or how wide. Just allowing the breath to breathe itself, breathe the body. And as you continue to draw awareness in, observing the breath, maybe you begin to notice the breath slows all on its own. Maybe you notice the breath becomes a little longer and smoother, all on its own. Allowing the external world, external stimuli to turn down as you amplify that internal awareness, allowing the attention to rest on the breath. Stay here for a few more rounds of breath, and I invite you to bring the hands to the outside of the rib cage. So it might be on the front, it might be on the side, it might be closer to the belly. It doesn't matter where, just somewhere that it's comfortable for you to rest here for a little bit. And as you continue to breathe, begin to notice if you're breathing evenly in both hands. And no need to change it, we're just observing the breath at this point. Take a couple more rounds, just like this. And if you happen to notice any imbalances, now see if you can breathe into the hands evenly. So if one side's a little sleepy, maybe you can see if you can open up into that side and allow both hands to expand evenly, contract with evenness. We'll take a couple more like this, bringing evenness to both hands. And then I invite you to stay with this even breath, but release the arms down or hands down. And just come back to the breath. Feeling into this evenness, perhaps this is the most breath you've invited into the body in a long time. Right, so just feeling into that sensation, right? That subtle sensation of full breath. We'll open our time together with 3 ohms. You may listen or you may join along. We'll take a couple connecting breaths and then move in for sound. Beginning to inhale, priming our instruments. Exhaling, letting everything go. We'll inhale for sound. Allowing the sound of Om to reverberate around and within, that calling to the true teacher within. And from here, we'll just start to find some gentle movement. You can keep the eyes closed or open the eyes. We'll inhale, arms overhead. And with an exhale, we'll rotate to the right. You might let the arms drift down. We'll inhale, arms back up. Rotate in the other direction and exhale, release arms. So we'll take this a few times, both sides. Creating some movement across the thoracic spine, some movement in the shoulders, allowing the breath to guide each action. And the next time you end on the right side, or whichever side you're on, we'll pause here. Right hand might come behind the body, left hand might come to a thigh or to the knee, and then press the hips down into the earth as you lift the spine on an inhale. Use the exhale to soften into the twist just a little more. The gaze might come out over the right shoulder. Breathing into this shape. We'll take another full breath in. As you exhale, start to unwind. Keep the left hand on the right knee, and we'll swing the right hand across to connect to the left knee. And then from here, draw the chin to the chest and see if you can press your heart all the way to the sky. Breathing in, feeling that openness across the back body. You might feel even some constriction in the front of the body, right? That's okay. Just allow the breath to soften you here. We'll inhale to release the hands, bring the arms up overhead. Then we'll rotate to the left, releasing right hand to the left knee, left hand behind you. Again, pressing hips down into the earth, lifting the spine long, using the exhale to drift deeper into this twist. Allow the breath to wash over both sides of the body, expanding the ribs wide. Continue to come back to that evenness of breath that we felt at the beginning of session. breath in. Full breath out. We'll inhale to slowly unwind and bringing left hand to right knee. Crossing again, chin to chest. Widen through the shoulder blades and lift the heart to the sky. Breathe in, invite the breath to expand across the shoulder blades, across the whole back body. And we'll take another breath in and a breath out. Inhaling to unwind the arms, we'll lift the arms overhead. Full breath in. And then we'll exhale, release arms down alongside the body. If legs are crossed, go ahead, switch the cross of the ankles and make any adjustments. It might feel a little funny, and that's okay. And then we'll play with the arms just a little bit more. So we'll inhale, arms up overhead. And then we'll cactus the arms. So see if you can nuzzle the shoulder blades in together, bring the elbows down. We'll inhale, arms forward. I think you're making an offering, and exhale, hands to heart center. Inhale, arms overhead. Exhale, draw the elbows together. We'll inhale forward. Exhale, hands to heart center. Beautiful job this morning. Keep moving. Inhale up. Exhale, cactus. Inhale, arms forward. Exhale, hands together. We'll take a couple more. Last one. Full breath in as you lift the arms high. Exhale everything you've got as you draw the elbows together. Inhale, offering to the world. And receive, draw it in. Beautiful. And we'll stay here for a moment, hands at heart center, bowing the head to the heart. And invite the breath to come into the heart center. You might expand across the collarbones, even feel it into the shoulder blades, right? The whole heart center expanding and contracting with each breath. And as you feel into this sensation in the heart center, the center of ourself, or rather a center of ourself, right? We have more than one. Ask the heart, what is it that you need this week? What is it that you need to support you, to nourish you, to move forward? And it might be helpful to think of a challenge or an obstacle that's on your plate currently. Something you'd like to get around or move through. And then asking the heart, what is it that you need to get through this obstacle, get past this challenge? And then whatever the heart reveals, see if you can word this in an I am statement. So allowing this to be in the present tense, a positive statement. Something like I am supported, I am nourished, I am focused, I am healthy, I am happy. And once you have your I am statement, breathe it into the heart center. Repeat it to yourself 3 times, sealing it in as if it's already true. And when you've repeated it 3 times, we'll let the arms drift down to the earth. We'll bring the hands alongside the body and start to press a little weight into the palms. So you want to feel the spine lengthen. And then from here, we're going to send the legs out long. Yeah, let's just start with a little bit of a warm up. Let's take the legs a little bit wider. so that there's some room. Keep pressing the palms down into the earth. Feel that length in the spine. Soften the ankles, and we're just gonna rotate the feet around just at the ankle bone, ankle joint, right? So the shin bone is gonna wanna help, the jaw is gonna wanna help, maybe even between the brow. See if you can soften the face. And then we'll rotate in the other direction, just moving with the breath. All right, so let's do toes a little bit here. So let's now soften the ankles. And then we'll open toes wide on an inhale. Exhale, draw and make little toe fists. Inhale, open wide. Exhale, little toe fists. We'll do one more. And exhale, draw in. And then soften the toes. And we'll bring the hands back alongside the body. And you can stay right here. So there's a couple different options. So you can have hands alongside the body. You can even walk the hands back if the spine is getting a little fatigued, right? Or final option, final bus stop, right, is bringing the arms to cross. So this is really going to require a lot of work of the core, but that's kind of what we're after. And so you'll soften the ankles here. See if you can feel both sits bones. So you want to feel both hips pressing down into the earth equally. And then look down at your right quadricep and imagine it starting to turn on. And I want you to feel into that little bit of heat that starts to develop. And then as that starts to develop, you'll start to bend into the right knee just a little bit. So just raising up the knee just a little bit. Heel is still on the earth. And this might be plenty this morning. Come back to feeling both hips pressing down into the earth, so feel that evenness. And then if this all feels good and you want a little more still, you might lift the right leg off the earth. Keep pressing both hips down, keep length through the spine, keep breathing, soften the jaw. Big full breath in, long, smooth, steady exhale out. One more breath in. And we'll exhale and release down. Nice job.
That felt great.
Yeah, so these are called leg vibrations, literally. I can't say it in Sanskrit, but that's what it translates to. And it's for not only the quads and the hip flexors, but it's really good for the, like, expanding beyond the pelvic floor. So like think of the whole, all the connective tissue around the pelvis, and really supporting that. And for those of us who ever stood on one side with a purse, right? Or, you know, like bartending, like I would stand on one side always. And so this is really good for bringing that imbalance back to balance, especially for those of us who've ever done that, even if we don't still do it. So this is a good one. And it's really good in the morning. This is one that you could do like every morning. And within probably 3 to 5 days, you'd really notice a big difference, even just of how long you could hold it. But even in that balance and that feeling, right? So the center of ourselves beyond our heart, right? Our spiritual center in the heart, the center of our physical body is kind of in the pelvis, right? Where we birth life from, whether or not we birth life from there. Some of us build businesses, some of us do other things, right?
Indeed.
All right, so other side. Hopefully that was enough of me yapping to get a break. All right, so if you cross arms, switch the cross so it feels funny. Yep. And then feel into both hip bones first. And then look down at the left thigh. You want to feel that engagement start to happen first, and then pick up the knee, and then pick up the leg. Keep pressing both hips down. Feel the length in the spine. Keep that lift. Full big breath in. Long, smooth, soft exhale out. Big full breath in. Exhale out. Let's go for one more. Inhale. And with an exhale, soften everything down. Nice job.
So start getting the leg cramps.
So I don't know, but my guess is just the muscles are not used to that action, right? So they're like turning on, they're like, whoa, 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 what is this? And cramps aren't necessarily bad.
So maybe just like.
So yeah, so
Not
that
to go
little
so
lift,
Yeah,
doing this at home and just starting to practice, and you know, maybe a little lift, a little come down, a little lift, a little come down. And also leaning back, right, when you take the angle out of the hip joint, that can help too. Sometimes for some of us it actually makes it a little more difficult, for others it makes it a little easier. So, all right, now we'll play with the other side of this. So we'll walk the feet to the earth. You can have feet down or heels down. For some of us, one's more comfortable than the other. And then hands are gonna come behind the knees. And we're gonna press down into the hips to lift the spine. Feel that length across the whole back body. Draw the shoulder blades together. And then from here, we're just leaning back as far as it feels like things start to turn on. Right, so you want that half boat pose. And keep lifting in the heart. For some of us, the low belly is what starts to fire. For others, it's underneath the bottoms of the rib cage. Right? For others still, it might just be in the hip flexors. It doesn't matter where you feel it. Just, you want to feel something. You want to feel a little bit of that vibration, that shake. We're after the shake this morning. Take another full breath in. Full breath out. We'll inhale, bring the heart back up. Nice job. And now we'll put it all together. How you feeling?
Good.
Good. All right. So making any adjustments, we'll come back to feet on the earth, hands behind the knees. Inhale, find that length in the spine, draw the shoulder blades together. Exhale, start to lean back. Feel into the stability of this side of the position first. Right? We've activated everything around here, so then when you're ready, you might lift one foot, set it down. You might lift the other, set it down. You might lift both. You might stay right here. You might release hands from the knees. You might extend legs. You might extend arms. You might play around. Feel that length in the spine for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and release. Nice job. How we feeling? Good?
In my body.
All right. So we'll bring feet to cross just for a moment before we come on all fours, and we'll just take a little, I like to think of this as like a washing machine, right? Like agitating clothes. So almost like a cat-cow shape. So as you come forward, creating a little roundness, or I guess arching in the spine, and as you move back, rounding the spine. So inhaling to move forward, exhaling to move back, and then we'll go in the other direction if you haven't already rotated. Just a nice little massage for the internal organs. You might feel this in the low back and the hips. Just a nice little warm up into these areas, and then we'll start to make our way into tabletop. So you might just roll over the ankles and come forward. And as you arrive in your tabletop shape, we'll just start to move into a little dancing lion. So right, it's kind of just an organic movement, no real structure, nothing, nowhere to be, nothing to do, right? Just starting to move the body around in all different areas. And so one thing that I really love about this movement is an opportunity to really wake up the hands and the fingers and the wrists. Right, so finding a little bit of spread across the fingers, but not so wide. And then as you rotate, think about kind of pressing to one side. So as you move to the left, right, you're pressing into the left side of the hand. You might move into the fingertips and then work your way to the right side of the hand. So just starting to kind of explore, right, the different parts of the fingers, the knuckles. And then the hips and spine just come along for the ride. here, if it's available to your architecture, we'll just come back to sit on the knees for a moment. Any other seat would be just fine. And then from here, we're just gonna play with the wrists a little bit. So we're gonna extend the arms out in front, draw the shoulder blades back into their socket, bring the thumb into the palm and then fingers wrap around. And then bring out the bend in the wrist. And then from here, we're just gonna rotate the wrist joint. So the forearms are really gonna wanna be involved. See if you can let them soften. And then the jaw also really always wants to get involved. And then we'll keep moving. And this one, usually most of us can feel it come all up the whole arm, which is just such a nice stretch.
Feels great.
Yeah, any of these joint freeing movements are some of my favorite. Bringing a lot of mobility, a lot of lubrication, right, to the area. And then we'll release the hands down, go ahead and shake everything out like there's no paper towels. And then we'll extend arms out, nuzzle the shoulder blades in together, and then we'll press through the palms like stop in the name of love. And then from here, keep drawing shoulder blades together, lifting in the heart, draw the low ribs in, and we're gonna release fingers down to the earth, and then back up. What feels like a fairly simple action becomes pretty heating pretty quickly. All right, we'll take one more round. Exhale everything. We'll inhale back up and release the arms down. Give everything a shake. Maybe the shoulders become involved now. Nice job. And then we'll collect our blocks. And we're gonna come back into our tabletop-like shape with the blocks. So for some of us, this height is good. For some of us, this height might be good. It doesn't really matter. We're gonna step the right foot forward. So we're coming into our low lunge, and if you need to support the back knee, a blanket, or you can always double up the mat and create a little extra cushion that way. And then from here, we're moving into our hula hoop hips. So a couple options. You can stay in line, kind of a railroad track lines, and just start to move the hips around in all sorts of different directions. And if you want a little more space, bring the right block on the inside of the right foot, and then you'll walk the right foot out and toes point out a little bit. So a couple different options. It doesn't really matter which one you do. And different days, right, call for different things. And we're just exploring.
That's good.
Yeah.
Can't do this on a daily basis.
No.
Yeah, it's great.
Especially those of us who are just like outside doing stuff all the time.
And of course, we've had 3 weeks of nothing.
Yes. That's why it's a nice, easy back-in class. I know I teach a private class on Friday morning, and we were off 2 weeks, I think, and then some of the ladies have been gone all summer. One of my ladies, she's I think 81 now.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, we went real easy. It's like, well, it's moving into fall season. That's just where we're at.
And we're feeling it, aren't we, and seeing it.
Yep.
The late summer.
Oh,
Trying
yeah.
wildflowers and the grasses.
Things are drying up, but it's still pretty wet, which is an interesting dichotomy for the body to adjust to. All right, and then from here, if you walked the foot wide, we're gonna walk the foot back into neutral so that it's coming directly out of the hip. And for some of us, coming into more of like a 90-90 lunge where all the joints are 90 degrees feels a little bit better. For others, walking the foot forward and coming into a little bit of that diving the hip down feels a little bit better. So just play around with where you want to be this morning. And we're going to slowly start to release away from the blocks. And you might press back into the back toes or the back shin bone, press down into the front heel as you start to peel yourself up. And then hands might come to the thigh. Hands might come to hips opening up across the front. Or hands might rise all the way up. Right, so a couple different options. I tend to like hands on the low back. And then if you're lifting the heart a little bit, think about lifting from the area of a bra strap, right? So where a bra strap might land in the back body, right? Like imagine you could bend your spine there and lift the heart from that point. Draw the elbows back together, both glutes are engaged. We'll take another full breath in and a full breath out. Another full breath in and a full breath out. We'll inhale, start to hinge back up to neutral. Release left hand to a block. And then right fingers, right thumb is going to come to the right hip crease. And then from here, we're going to bring the right hip crease back and lengthen across the front leg. So you might stay right here. You might decide to walk the foot in a little more. You might walk the foot out a little more. So a couple different options. For me this morning, I'm going to stay in that neutral position. And you want to press back into the back toes. So either back toes are tucked or top of the foot. And you're pressing back into the standing leg. So really all the power is coming from that standing leg. And then from here, slight micro bend in the front knee. What this does is engage the quadriceps. You really want to keep this quadricep engaged. And this is going to help to soften the hamstring. So then we're going to press into that thumb. And we're going to drive that hip back a little bit. And then allow this to bring the heart to toes. And you might not go very far down. Right? It's more about keeping that structure and stability of the legs, feeling into the front of the thigh active, and then soften back of the thigh. And then if it calls, you might come a little more into this. See if you can rotate your right pinky toe towards the face just a little more. And that's really going to be like, oh, hello, IT band.
Yes.
We'll take another breath in. Another breath out. We'll inhale here. We'll start to lift up. We'll exhale. We'll come back into our low lunge. Let's bring the blocks with us. Tuck the back toes. And then from here, we're going to come into our standing split. So one leg standing, the other leg kind of floating. And so for me, I tend to like to launch into this a little bit more. So my knee almost comes over the toes. And that's going to create a little more support from this leg to kick off and lift that back leg. Nice job this morning. And then working less about the lifted leg and more about the standing leg. So really pressing down into the right foot, activating the whole right leg, especially that right glute. And then use that right glute to help bring both hips into evenness. You might even reach up and feel if one hip's hiked up. And then what you might need to do to negotiate and bring a hip down. And then from here, big full breath in. We're going to move into a Shiva squat. So we're going to bring left knee behind right knee and just bend both knees a little bit, kind of like a curtsy. And then we'll inhale back up. Exhale to come down. Inhale back up. Exhale to come down. Inhale back up. Big full breath in. And with an exhale, we'll release both feet flat on the earth. Forward fold. And then with blocks, let's work into this a little bit since we've got them here. So as you come into this forward fold, you might start to come a little more onto the toes. Not this high, I'm over exaggerating, but right, a little more weight into the toes. And then we're gonna bend down like we're sitting in a chair, right? With the heels lifted, all the weight in the toes. And just a little bit of this action of bending in the knees, bending in the hips. right? To help soften the hamstrings, to create a little more awareness into the front of the foot. Let's take one more. And then we'll come back to our forward fold. Release the heels down, but stay soft, and now melt over the thighs. You might release hands from the blocks. You might bring arms in either elbow. Soften the head and the neck. And let this be about spinal decompression. Let the breath wash over the whole back body. If anyone had ever told you that you might have a lateral curve in the spine, this is one of the better poses or shapes to do to help bring some spaciousness back to the spine. Especially for those of us also that feel like we carry the weight of the world on our shoulders. And you're feeling that softness in the cervical spine, the base of the neck, into the mid-back or thoracic spine. We'll take another breath in or two. We'll release the hands down to the earth. And then we'll inhale, halfway lift. So bring the hands up along the legs. And then we'll meet in the hip crease for that half lift. And imagine you're looking out over a diving board, right? Or I often think the Grand Canyon, right? Like you're kind of trying to hit the edge of something and reach out and look over, right? Create that length in the back body, and then we'll exhale, melt back down, slide the hands back down the legs. We'll take that just one more time. Inhale, half lift. Hands come up to the thighs, and this time, we're gonna press into the thighs and take a seat. So we're coming into our little chair pose. So hands are into the thighs press back a little bit. And we're just using that press to lift the heart and to create some length in the spine. Keep drawing the shoulder blades together, activate both the glutes. And imagine with the inner thighs, you're like squeezing things together, but at the same time, almost like you could open the legs up, right? So you wanna feel both sides of the hips working. And then if this feels good, keep the legs where they're at. We're gonna bring hands to heart center. Keep breathing, find that breath. And then from here, if this all feels good, it's stable. Belly button to spine, we're gonna lift the arms up and overhead. For most of us, we come into that Y, right? Creating just a little more space across the shoulder blades, across the collarbones. Beautiful, keep breathing. We'll take a couple more breaths here. One more inhale. And with an exhale, melt back down, forward fold. Nice job. Let the head and neck soften, let everything soften. You might take some wiggles, shake the head, yes and no, shake the hips, right? Shake the shoulders, lose a layer. All right, and good thing we only have two sides. So we just have one more to do, and then more stuff after that. But here we are. All right, so we'll come back into that forward fold. Collect the blocks on your way. We'll inhale, find a half lift with the blocks, and on an exhale, this time we'll step the left foot back, coming into that low lunge for just a moment, and then we'll bring the knee down to the earth.
Step back with the right.
What did I say?
Yep, okay. That's right.
So left foot forward, right foot back.
Yep.
Opposite of what we did.
I was like, usually I just listen to what you say and I don't.
All right, and then this time, so we're coming back into our hula hoop hips. So you might stay in line of that railroad track, or you might walk the left block inside and bring the left leg out a little bit. So a couple different options, right? And then just starting to move the hips around. And generally we feel it on one side more than the other. And And we'll be here for a little bit, so just keep breathing. Keep breathing. Check on our And then as both sides start to feel even, we'll start to work that left foot back underneath the left knee, back in our railroad track. And then we're lengthening, oh, just kidding, getting ahead of myself. All right, so from here, drawing the inner thighs together, pressing both feet down into the earth, right back bone, shin bone, or back toes. And then you're using that to start to lift you up into a low lunge. And again, you might stay right here. This might be plenty. You want to feel a nice little stretch across the front of the right thigh. So you're pressing down in that shin bone or the toes. And then you might lift arms up. You might release hands to the low back. Right, and then as we settle into this and find the breath, again, lift at the heart center. So lift from that mid-back area. Keep nuzzling shoulder blades together. Keep pressing into both feet equally. And the front foot, you might drag the heel back just a little, an energetic drag, right? And that's gonna help to really activate the whole back of the front leg. We'll take another full breath in. Exhale all that you've got. We'll inhale, lift the heart. We'll come back into our neutral spine. Left thumb to left hip crease. Right hand might come to the block just for a little more support. And then we're extending that front leg. For me, I tend to have to bring the foot forward a little bit just to create standing on the right leg, left leg out. And then again, slight micro bend in the left knee. Use the left hand to keep nuzzling the left hip back. And then you might start to dive into this just a little bit. Keep the left quadricep active, and that's gonna help soften the hamstring. And then if you want a little more still, rotate the left pinky toes towards the face. Yes, good morning. And breathe. Right, that's the easiest thing to forget when we're in all these shapes, is what happens with the breath, right? Like, oh, let me just hold it this whole time, right? Because when things are hard, we want to hold our breath, but what we practice on the mat translates to the rest of our life. So if we breathe through the hard stuff, right, we build that practice, we build that muscle memory even, right? Then when shit hits the fan in the rest of our life, right, we keep breathing. We're like, ah, it's fine, who cares, whatever. We'll just keep moving forward. We'll take another full breath in. Full breath out, nice job. From here, we'll inhale, start to lift the heart wherever you're at. Bend the left knee. We'll start to walk our blocks forward and we'll come into our standing split. So tucking the back toes, bringing that left knee forward and kind of launching into whatever standing split variation. And again, pressing down into the left foot, activate the whole left leg, especially that left glute, and use the strength of the standing leg to then stamp the right foot behind you. So active in both feet. We'll find a big full breath in. Smooth, steady exhale out. Another inhale here. And then with an exhale, we'll find our Jiva squat. So left knee comes behind right knee comes behind left knee. Then we'll inhale back up. Exhale, a little squat. Inhale back up. Exhale, a little squat. Last one. Inhale back up. Exhale, a little squat. We'll inhale to extend and then release the right foot down. Come into your forward fold. Let everything melt down. You can release hands from the blocks. Shake out the head, yes and no, side to side. Feel into that sensation of like the head dangling off the spine. There's no more tension in the neck. And with an inhale, we'll half lift. Again, find that looking over a cliff sensation. Exhale, melt down. And then this time as you inhale, half lift, we'll bring the block with us and we'll place the block in between the thighs. So for some of us, a little closer to the knees feels better. For others, a little closer to the groin feels better. It doesn't matter where, just that it's comfortable. And you want to tune into a sensation of being able to squeeze the block with the inner thighs. And then we'll release hands back to the thighs. Heel of the hand into the hip crease, and then just find your toes, right? Find stability. Find somewhere that feels really good. And then we're gonna keep squeezing this block in. And then imagine you could lift the kneecaps. So now you're activating the front of the thigh, the inner thigh. And then pressing into the hands, we're gonna lift the heart and create our chair pose, right? The shape of chair. And then this might be plenty right now, right? A lot is happening. If you want a little more, you might release hands to heart center and just stay right here. And if you want a little more still, we're gonna inhale, arms up overhead. Keep squeezing that block, lifting the kneecaps. We'll exhale, cactus the arms. We'll inhale, make our offering. Exhale, hands to heart center. We'll take that a couple more times. Inhale up. Exhale, elbows down. Inhale, offering. Exhale, hands to heart center. Last one, nice job. Inhale up. Exhale down. Inhale out. Inhale in, nice job. We'll release hands down. We're gonna press, so hands might press into the thighs and eventually move into the hips. So we're gonna press into the feet, lift up. Hands will come to the hips or front of the thighs, wherever. And you wanna keep squeezing the block, lifting the kneecaps, and then we're gonna find that little back bend. Pressing the hips forward. Another inhale here. Exhale, we'll come back to neutral. Nice job. How are we feeling?
Great.
Good. All right, we'll set our block down. And then from here, if you want to face each other, just since it's two, pardon me, we're going to step wide on the mat. And you want to extend the arms and then check in. Are the wrists above the ankles? Or rather, are the ankles below the wrists? And if they're not, you want to take it a little bit wider. And then we'll release hands down back to the hips. Nice job. So from here, feel into the feet. And I want you to imagine like you could roll out onto the knife edge. You're not going to do it, but like in the direction of that. And then you're lifting the arch. And then scooping both feet back towards one another. And this is gonna help create a little more lift in the inner thighs and probably it'll help maintain that bend in the knee, right? And then weight comes into the toes just a little bit. And then from here, we're gonna rotate the right toes out. So usually just pivoting on the heel, and then the back foot comes in about 45 degrees. So we're coming into our warrior two stance. And now from here, really feel into that back leg. So back glute is super active. You still have that little bit of scooping action of the foot. And then this whole back leg is helping you power into the lunge. And then check in that the knee, the front knee, is directly over the middle toe. So we have this tendency to scoop in, right? So we want to keep that leg open, and that's just going to help protect some of that soft. And if you have to adjust feet a little bit to get it there, feel free. And then from here, we're going to rotate the torso back to neutral and extend the arms. Nice job. And then nuzzle the shoulder blades in together. And now gaze comes out soft over your front middle finger. Breathe. Feel into the sensation of pressing down with the feet, yet lifting up with the legs. And then a lightness or softness in the shoulders, like almost like you could just take flight. And if the shoulders are fatiguing, I know we've done a lot of arm work, flip the palms to the sky, draw the shoulder blades together. Yeah. We'll take another couple breaths in. Smooth, steady exhales out. Full breath in. Full breath out. Let's do one more like that. Full breath in. Exhale everything out. From here, we'll straighten the front leg and we'll come into our reverse triangle. So left hand slides down the back leg. Keep everything super active. And then you're just breathing into the whole right side body. Full breath in. Full breath out. Full breath in. Full breath out. Let's do one more inhale. As you exhale, we'll hinge forward. We'll keep the front leg straight. Right hand comes to right hip crease, like you're just scooping in there. And then we're gonna press the hip back. Keep the bend in the front knee. Left hand might come to a hip. And then we're just kind of bending into this a little bit. So our triangle, Trikonasana pose, right? And right hand might stay over in the hip crease. You might slide down to a soft knee. If you got a block handy, you might bring a block on either side. And then if this all feels good and you want a little more still, you might lift up the left arm. Full breath in. Full breath out. Full breath in. Full breath out. We're gonna slowly start to lift. We're gonna take 3 inhales to get all the way up. So we're gonna lift a little, exhale and pause. We want those obliques working. Inhale just a little. Exhale, pause. You might release the left arm. We'll come up all the way. Inhale and pause. Hands come to the hips. We'll pick up the right toes, turn them in. And we'll pause here for just a moment. How we feeling? Good. Welcome back. All right, from here, let's take a little forward fold. So for some of us, walking the toes in a little bit feels better. For some, having the short edge, the feet parallel to the short edge of the mat feels good. For others, a little bit wide. It just kind of depends on the architecture of your pelvis. And from here, hands will come to the hips. Draw the elbows back. And then lift up through the spine. Full breath in, and with an exhale, hinging at the hips. You're coming to about halfway. We'll pause here, find length in the neck. And then with an exhale, you might bring hands to blocks. You might bring hands to the earth. And then you'll just start to work your way into this forward fold. So start to press more weight into the toes, right? We always love to hang out in the heels here. So see if you can bring just a little more weight in the toes, especially both big toe mounds. Slight bend in the knees, maybe even lifting the kneecaps with the quadriceps. And then just letting the head and neck soften.
One more inhalation. Exhale everything out. With the next inhale, we'll come up to about halfway lift. Hands might be on the earth still or blocks. Draw the feet together like you're squishing them together energetically. They don't actually move. And it's going to help create a little bit of lift. Hands come to the hips. Draw the elbows back together and we'll rise all the way up. Nice job. And then from here, we'll pick up the left foot, pivot on the heel, and come into our warrior two on the opposite side. So back foot will spin in just a little bit. And we're finding that strength of the back leg first. We're really active, especially in the right glute. That scooping action of the right foot. And then all of this is launching you into that front lunge. Nice job. And then from here, we'll extend the arms out. Gaze might come soft over the front middle finger. And just breathe. Feel into that pressing down, right? To create the lift, to create. And remember, if the shoulders are tiring, flip the palms. Give the shoulders a little break. Nice job. Couple more breaths. Another full breath in. Exhale everything out. We'll release the arms down. We'll inhale, straighten the front leg, and then we'll slide the right hand down, lifting the left arm for a reverse triangle. Just letting the breath wash over the whole left side of the body. Another inhale here. We'll exhale, start to unwind. We'll work the left hand to the left hip crease, right hand to the right hip, and then keep that leg straight, but don't lock the knee out, and we'll just start to tilt. So you're kind of hugging that left hip under, right hip on top. And for a lot of us, this is plenty, right? Once we figure out the position of the hips, we feel it, and that's good. Right, so find where you want to be. You might keep the left hand where it is. You might release down to a shin or a soft knee. And if this all feels good, you can continue with extending the right arm to the sky. Find that breath, full breath in. Smooth, steady exhale out. All right, we're gonna inhale, lift just a little. Exhale. Inhale, lift just a little. Exhale. Final one. Inhale all the way up. Release hands down. Nice job. We'll pivot the left toes back in. And then come onto the toes and rotate the heels in. Nice job. For most of us, this puts us in pretty much where we should be for anatomically correct. But if you need to make adjustments, please do. And we're just gonna start with that little swaying. Everyone's already doing it anyways, right? Just exploring the hips, exploring the shape. And then we'll start to work our way into a little stillness. Hands might stay on the hips, or you might bring hands to the thighs, thumbs on the inner thigh, fingertips outside. And then settle in for just a moment. We'll find our breath. Inhale. Exhale. You might lift one heel up, set it down. You might lift the other heel up, set it down. You might lift both heels up. You might release hands and come into, I always think of, like serving pizzas. For whatever reason, it's specifically pizzas though. We'll take another breath in. Lower the heels down, bring the hands back to the thighs. Nice job. We'll inhale, find length in the spine. Exhale, drop right shoulder down to the earth. Inhale, back up. Exhale, left shoulder. Inhale, back up. We'll take that a couple more on both sides. So we're finding that lift and lower, that twist in the spine. Right, just allowing the spine to move in
all sorts of different directions. All right, we'll come into neutral. From here, maybe you jump together. Mine wasn't so good. Yeah, nice job.
Didn't feel like it looked that good.
It looked perfect.
Yes.
All right, so we're gonna make our way down onto the mat, and let's go ahead. Let's go ahead and come into our forward fold, because this will just make things a little bit easier. So with your blocks, and then we're gonna come back into that standing split shape. So right leg's gonna lift, left leg is down. We're gonna come into that jiva squat, so left knee behind, and then right toes connect to the earth, kind of like a kickstand, and then we'll just start to sit all the way down. So it brings us right into our little shape. So we're moving into Gomukhasana. So this is where we want to essentially try to stack the knees. They might not actually stack, but that's so versus this, right? This is one that we do a lot, but we're doing more of this. So think of like a whale tail. And for me, I tend to, because I have a lot of squishy parts of my thighs, I'll come into almost like a forward tabletop, and then kind of lock the knees back together and then come to sit. And for me, that just helps move my thigh mass out of the way. And then you want to feel both feet pressing down. Ankles can be bent, they don't necessarily need to be, right? Just whatever's going to be comfortable for your knees. And then you want to feel both hips pressing into the earth. So if you don't, I can give you my blanket and I can shove it under there or something, but you want that sensation. And then from here, left leg is on top, so left arm is going to be on bottom. We're going to open up the arms, and then we're going to rotate the left hand behind us and the right hand over top. And they might connect, they might not. Sometimes a sock, right, can help bring that back. Sometimes grabbing just a t-shirt, right? Whatever you've got. It's less about connecting so much, or just kind of that feeling of staying open, right? So you want that feeling of hips pressing down and then staying open across the shoulders, open across the chest, keeping length in the whole spine. Full breath in. Smooth, steady exhale out. Full breath in. Smooth, steady exhale out. Let's take one more. And with an exhale, we'll release the hands down. Keep the cross of the legs, and we're gonna just walk forward. So you're only walking as forward as hips allow. And for some of us, this feels really good. For others, it's like pretty intense. Breathe into it. And then whatever, so it's the left hip that's on top. Think about pressing that hip down as you create length in the spine. So it's kind of that dueling action of pulling the spine apart. And that's going to help create a little more softening across the hip. And we'll take one more breath in. Exhale everything out, melt into it. And then we'll inhale to lift up. And then we'll try this. We'll see how it works. So our little breakdancing move. So I might have to do it. So you're gonna lean towards the right and then pick up the feet and the knees, and then you'll just keep walking, 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 walking. And then rotate, rotate, rotate. And then you'll end up in Gomukhasana on the other side. Yep, yep, yep. Next job.
You gotta do that.
Our little breakdancing
Yeah.
move. And then again, so once we're here now, right, if you take that seat forward and then kind of adjust hips a little, usually that kind of helps to just get things to where they need to be. feeling into both feet press down into the earth, both hips press into the earth. And then once you have that, this time right arm comes below, left arm comes above. And for most of us, usually one side we can connect really well, the other side we can't. And as women, it might be part of that lateral curve. It might not be. It could be 1,000 other things. It could be a twisted hip. It could be tons of stuff. Doesn't really matter, right? It's just honoring our imbalances as they are, without judgment, without criticism, right? Honoring, there's always this idea of, oh, I'm going to the gym, I'm gonna go do this, I'm gonna go do that to fix myself, right? To fix something that's wrong with me. And what if nothing's wrong, right? Can we just honor the body as she is in all her glory, even with imbalance, even with one side being open, one side maybe not. And take another full breath in. Exhale, unwind the arms. We'll stay with the legs and then just start to walk the hands forward, coming into a little forward fold. The more that you hug the thighs together, press the hips down, create length in the spine. For a lot of us, the more spaciousness we end up finding across the low back, the spine. One more full breath in. We'll exhale, let it go. We'll inhale to rise up. And we'll release both legs out. Go ahead and give them a little shake. You might tap the legs. And then before we move into our final resting pose, we're gonna do a little front of the body opener. So we're gonna come onto the belly. Don't worry, we're almost there.
The belly.
And nap time.
Yeah. Oh, love that.
All right, so let's start in our Sphinx pose. And we're gonna kind of work from here. So elbows come just underneath the shoulders. And then I want you to imagine drawing the shoulder blades together so that the heart really comes forward. And for a lot of this might create a little more space even at the low rib cage. And then just like a snake, right, slithering up out of the grass, we want to press down into the forearms a little bit. They, of course, don't have forearms, but right, we're mimicking that action because we do. And we're pressing into the forearms, almost that dragging-like action to lift the heart, nuzzling the shoulder blades together. Press the hips down into the earth, press the top of the feet down into the earth, and then feel that nice spaciousness across the front of the body, maybe into the hips. I tend to feel this deep in my belly. Right, so just noticing where you notice this. We're gonna take another breath in, and with an exhale, we'll lower down to the earth and then interlace fingers underneath the forehead and just let the forehead rest on the earth. So I'm gonna stay lifted just so you can hear me and kind of walk you through where we're heading next. So from here, we're gonna move into our low cobra, right? So a little more snake-like, it's still. And the fingertips are gonna walk out to the sides of the body so that they're in line with the nipples. And then you're drawing the shoulder blades together, the elbows together, and really see if you can pull the shoulder blades together like you're almost holding a pencil between the shoulder blades. So you want that level of lift, and then press into the tops of the feet. Press into the hips, keep nuzzling the shoulder blades together, and on an inhale, peel the heart off the earth just a little bit. Little to no weight in the hands, but the hands are on the earth and just creating a gentle tugging forward action. Keep the shoulder blades drifting together. Another full breath in. And with an exhale, we'll lower back down.
I'll cue you into this next one. So inhale, peel the heart, keep drawing the shoulder blades together. Keep the gaze soft down at the earth so that there's a bend, taking the bend out of the neck, right? We want that length across the whole spine. Another full breath in. And exhale, melt back down. Nice job, yogis. One more like this. Take another breath out. And then your next inhale, peel the heart off the earth. If you want a little more still, press into the feet again and maybe lift the hands off the earth. Keep squeezing the shoulder blades together, right? You want to feel that in the back of the neck, in the back of the shoulder blades, and then lower down when you're ready. Nice job. And then just let everything soften. You might bring fingertips back underneath the forehead, arms alongside the body. And reconnect to the breath. Reconnect. And then from here, with the forehead on the earth, we're gonna send the right arm out to a T. So just, it'll come out on the floor. And then from here, press into the right palm and just start, so the hand might slide a little bit as you rotate. And then we're just gonna start to rotate onto the right side. So for some of us, this is plenty, right? Left hand, my left hand is kind of supporting in front of the chest. And then head might soften or head might lift, right? This, for a lot of people, this is plenty. If you want a little more still, you might bend the left knee and connect it to the earth. So a couple different options. If you're not feeling this in the arm, you might bend the right elbow just a little bit, right? And you're breathing. So this is a beautiful front body chest opener, especially for that pec minor, right? And that pec minor is often what's responsible for pulling the shoulders or rounding the shoulders in, right? Which eventually leads to pulling the curve out of our neck, eventually leads to a feeling of being guarded. Another full breath in. Full breath out. We'll inhale here. And go ahead and unwind, working the chest back down to the earth. And then we'll move into the other side. So left arm extends out. And then you're rotating onto the left side. And just adjusting to feel that nice stretch across the front of the chest. Beautiful. We'll stay here for a few breaths. One more inhalation. Exhale everything out. Inhale here again. And with the exhale, starting to unwind, working your way back onto the belly. We'll soften here for a round of breath. Letting that information process. And then we'll move into the direction of our final resting posture, Shavasana. So you can stay on the belly if this feels good this morning. If you want, you can just rotate, turn onto the back. If there's anything else that might be calling for you today, maybe a happy baby, maybe a plow pose, right? Take a few moments to settle into whatever else you need this morning.
the mind wanders, because that's what it does, I invite you to come back into that curious observation of the breath. Our last few moments together, our last few moments to be with the self before entering out into the world of external stimulus, so many demands. Right? Just allow these next few moments to stay soft in the body, soft in the breath, soft in the mind. I will call you out in a few moments. So I invite you to take this time to really allow this practice to integrate. And if the mind is busy still, as you inhale, repeat Sat. And as you exhale, Nam. Sat, Nam. I am that. When despair for the world grows in me, and I wake in the night at the least sound, in fear of what my life and my children's lives may be, I go and lie down where the wood drake rests his beauty on the water, and the great heron feeds. I come into the peace of wild things, who do not tax their lives with forethought of grief. I come into the presence of still water, and I feel above me the day-blind stars waiting with their light. For a time, I rest in the grace of the world, and I am free. Dear souls, begin to deepen your breath. Allowing awareness drift back into this room, this body, this life. And when you're ready, inviting some gentle movement back into the body, opening toes and fingers wide, drawing in, rolling out ankles and wrists. Eventually finding a good morning stretch, reaching the body long, and then hugging both knees into the chest. Winding into that little seed shape, the shape of potentiality, and then rolling to either side in a fetal position, the shape of new beginnings, new perspectives. And I invite you to revisit your I am statement one final time this morning. Breathing it into the heart center, repeating it to yourself 3 times. And then when you're ready, using your top arm to press up to seated, returning to a comfortable seat. And we'll close our time together with 3 Ohms. Taking a deep breath in through the nose. We'll exhale out the mouth, let it go. We'll inhale through the nose once again. Exhale, let it go. This time we'll inhale, preparing for sound. Bringing hands to heart center in Anjali Mudra, or Hridaya Mudra, which is left hand on heart, right hand over top. Bowing the head to the heart. Repeating quietly to yourself, with great respect and love, I honor my heart, my inner teacher. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. May all beings in all 3 worlds be happy and be free from suffering. Dear souls, thank you so much for showing up this morning and doing something so kind for your body, your mind, and your spirit. And thank you for allowing me to guide you this morning. It's my absolute honor and pleasure to be here and hold this space in community together. The light in me, the light in you, it is the same. Namaste. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.